Hi, thank you everybody for stopping by on my American culture reaction video for my intercultural communication class for GCU. The first question on this project was how I felt or what my reflection was towards the article that we read about the Nasirma people, and I hope I pronounced that correctly, but about the Nasirma people, and how I felt that that connected or depicted like American culture. And of course, at first, when I first read the article, I thought there was a lot of connections with a lot of older cultures, older groups of civilizations, kind of like the Aztecs and the Incas and stuff like that, and how they believed upon rituals and things like that. The same way, like in the article, they mentioned about like how they believed in the spirits from the mouth and how they had to take care of their mouth because of things like that. So it was like this really big whole relationship that I saw like that with beliefs and superstitions, basically from like older cultures. As far as how it depicts towards like American culture nowadays, I see it as a little bit of I want to say like kind of like similar beliefs. Like they had a belief about a leader that helped throw something across a river. Honestly, I wasn't 100% sure what they meant by what he threw across the river at the Pachumac. But he also chopped down, like, to say, a cherry tree. He went across a river. He was known as like a strong warrior. All these things kind of reminded me of, like, say, George Washington in American culture. The way we had George Washington cut down a cherry tree. He sailed on a boat across the river, and he was considered like a great warrior as well. So I found connections like that with American culture and their culture being similar to that aspect of it when I had to go through this. And realizing that they had a similarity like that in their belief of I want to say like kind of who created everything, but it was an interesting question to say the least. I did find a lot of things that I found with different cultures relating to it and how it could be similar to a lot of things. All right, welcome to question number 2 for this project and assignment. So on this one, I'm supposed to take a little bit of time, explain a ritual or an event in my culture, how it can be seen from like an outside observer, an outside perspective, and then also kind of explain how it can mingle or like kind of blends in with U.S. cultures or their types of views and stuff like that. So the one that I went with is actually called the Day of the Dead. It's a celebration that Hispanic cultures believe in. They celebrate every year. It falls around November 1st to November 2nd for the main part. There's a few extra days in there if you get really into it and want more specifics and stuff like that. But for the most part, it is celebrated on November 1st and 2nd, right after Halloween, which is October 31st here in the United States. And of course, from an outside perspective, it could look a lot very similar. There's skulls, for instance, and Halloween decorations. There's skulls and skeletons that you see. They have the big, tall ones that they sell over at like Home Depot and Lowe's that people use for home decorations. And in the Day of the Dead celebration, they also use the skulls, the sugar skull candies. They also use the outfits where they dress up as like a skeleton, in remembrance and as a celebration of it all. There is a big difference, though, between the two, which from an outside perspective wouldn't necessarily be seen right away. I don't think, like, if you don't really know too much about the culture or what's going on, it could be seen as a little bit different. I think that's kind of how it blends in with American culture. Is it kind of blends in with the whole Halloween vibes that American culture has, and the infusion of like Dia de los Muertos. It all kind of gets infused into a giant, almost like a melting pot here. But that was the one that I decided to go with, was for the Day of the Dead, as far as an event for my culture that I thought people would see as from an outside perspective. So the third part of this project was to explain how I feel that this ritual, this event has changed over the years or throughout history. And of course, the Dia de los Muertos, that whole event is based around honoring and loving your loved ones, remembering the people that you cared about, letting you know they're kind of not forgotten at all, like that they're still within our hearts and that we still care about them. And kind of having that feeling and bond, I want to say, with our loved ones that have passed. Where it's changed over the years is I feel like it's become way more commercialized, way more mainstream and popular, even to the point where you have TikTokers doing it or social media influencers. Stores like Target now sell little kits that it's pre-made kits, so you can make your own ofrenda or your own little ritualistic stand where you put the pictures of your loved ones that have passed. The thing with that though is traditionally all those things were done at home, and you would do all of that with your loved ones. It was a whole preparation, making the food that they wanted, making sure you had toys that were specific to them, little keepsakes that were theirs that you would put there as a memory, as a token of like, this is how I remember you, you know? And things like that, things that belonged to them or things that reminded you of them, their favorite foods, drinks. And actually, certain steps are done too, as far as the ritual goes, that isn't fully practiced nowadays. As far as the reasoning behind having water in your ofrenda and things like that. So that's a big thing, is it being more commercialized. Even in grocery stores and in stores that you go to, they'll put up big ofrendas in there, and they start honoring like singers and famous Latin people that have passed away. And it's nothing bad to honor those people as well, if that's where you're going with, but I feel like traditionally the way this ceremony or event was designed was mainly to be more intimate, more for your family and for your loved ones. And although it was celebrated big in bigger events, it was meant more to be of an intimate setting. I feel as personally, as time went on, that with it becoming more popular, more commercialized, honestly, that it kind of lost that feeling of intimacy. Okay, so the fourth and final question that I was asked for this project was whether it's beneficial or detrimental in U.S. culture to learn about these beliefs, or learn about Dia de los Muertos and stuff like that. And I honestly, personally feel like it is beneficial in the long run. With the exposure from movies like Coco and things like that, it brings a new light to Hispanic traditions in the U.S. culture, and it influences more people. It opens up the minds, I feel like, for more people when it comes to culture like that, and being exposed to those types of traditions helps expose people to culture. I also feel like it's definitely a good thing. For instance, there was a writer for Townsend University, Miss Megan Bradshaw. She had the opportunity of interviewing Alejandra Balcazar. And Alejandra Balcazar is the Latinx director for, coordinator, I mean, for the Center of Student Diversity there at Townsend University. And they interviewed her about Day of the Dead, and they asked her about it. She said, you know, and her thing, it's not a sad event. You know, its meaning is very beautiful when it comes to the tradition for Day of the Dead, and it's something that should be shared with everybody, because death is a part of life, and every single one of us, regardless of our culture or our backgrounds, go through an event of death in our lifetimes. And I really thought it was really nice how she kind of explained it. She was a lot more detailed in it, and how she explained it more than I could ever possibly try to rephrase it and stuff like that. But it was a very powerful message that they wrote in that article. It was originally written in 2022, but republished in 2024 as well from the university, because it had that much powerful of a meaning to it. And it stands true. I feel that it's beneficial for people to find ways to cope with death. It's beneficial for people to understand different cultures and see that we all grieve and have that love for our loved ones and for people that we've cared about. And I kind of feel like it puts us all kind of on a more even playing field when we all have similarities that we go through. So I do feel that it is very beneficial that more cultures and more people do become aware of traditions in Hispanic communities like Dia de los Muertos.